This is Abnormal Entertainment.
2, 3, 4.
Walked into the tunnel just to find the light. Hunted for old demons, looking for a fight. Looked up at the stars, seemed to go forever. There must be a way, it all fits together. Fell into the quicksand, held on to the vines. Never could quite color, stay within the lines. Feels like I have wings, I can fly wherever. This is just a way, it all fits together. Finally saw the world through rose-colored glasses. Gonna share my journey to small and large masses. Give up on my life, no sir, me never. This is how I put it together. This is how I put it together. This is how I put it together.
Hey everybody, this is Daniel Garza, and welcome to another episode of Put It Together. I'd like to start as usual thanking my producer, Mr. Kevin Morris, for all his help and support. Thank you, sir. Inviting everybody to join us at abnormalentertainment.com, where you can find all the shows in the network. And follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, where you can get all kinds of information. And I've got some new stuff coming out, so please pay attention at the end, because there's some new events and some new projects through Little Mexican Productions that I'm really excited about and want to share with you guys. Today, I have Mr. Cameron Weir, or is it Weir?
It's actually Weir.
Weir, okay, good. I knew I was mispronouncing it there. I was putting an accent in the I instead of the E.
Exactly.
Which is in Spanish.
Right. And I need more of a Portuguese.
Yes, because Weir in Spanish means entitled, and I just didn't know if you knew that.
All right.
So, yeah.
And then you just have the even more entitled Cameron in front of it.
There you go. So yes,
yeah.
I'm even surprised you're sitting here in front of me.
All right. Well, the seat's cushioned enough.
I figured you might have gotten lost along the way. It's like they might have tacos there.
Right. That's the thing. But I'm so entitled that I figure even if I get lost, there'll be somebody there.
Somebody's there waiting for me.
Like, I know where you need to go.
Yes, we're not Motel 6, and we do not leave the light on for you. So thank you. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me. I feel entitled to be here.
Cameron and I met because here's how this started. I saw Tanya on the news when they were originally doing the first couple of weeks of the senior center.
Still kicking.
Correct.
Yeah, that's the name of the group.
And I was like, she's got to be on my show. Like, there's just no up. So when I emailed her, she was like, well, we have a show coming up this Friday. Come join us. And me being me, I was like, okay, I don't know what the hell you guys are doing. I'll be there.
Well, in fairness to you, neither did we when we first started. So I just for some context, Still Kicking essentially was, and still is, we actually just did a reunion last week to visit them for the holidays. It began by Tanya Smith as sort of a project for a business class she was doing in leadership. And she had the idea to start an improv outreach group for nursing home residents.
Right.
And so there was one that said, please, we'd love to have you do it, York Wellness Center in Highland Park. And I was referred to her by somebody in her acting class, and we got a few other people together. Not really sure what we were going to do, but we just kind of went in, and there were a couple stumbling blocks immediately, such as everyone's in a wheelchair, and a lot of people do not speak English. There were a lot of seniors from not just Spanish speaking. There was Vivian Kwan from Taiwan, and a few other people, and but we rolled with it. And we had so much fun, and it immediately began evolving. But the most important thing was that everybody wanted to be there. It was a room full of love, and I think just not, it's sort of cliched to say that I got more out of it than they did, but
it's true.
It's true.
If you've never ever in your life, if you listen to this, and you've never ever in your life volunteered for anything, you don't know what you're missing.
Right. And even it doesn't even have to be in sort of that group setting, which we develop more structure, of course, every week, and we learn the games and the activities that they really responded to, which was essentially just manic energy. They like a lot of noise, a lot of music, and just the interaction. Because we have the news coverage, I think you saw that. But the questions that people would often be asking us is why, or why is this something that we should be concerned about? And I think it's one of those things that you don't really think about until, because often if you ask somebody what are your concerns for elder care, and immediately they'll think, well, are they getting the health care that they need? Are the nurses stealing from them?
Right.
Do they have a sunny window and a TV? What else does Grandpa need? But it doesn't matter if you're 8 or 80. You still need the interaction. Yeah. You still need somebody coming in and not only making you laugh, but you making them laugh.
Yeah, I got to go twice, and the first time was a surprise because I was just going to watch.
And we dragged you in.
Totally.
Yeah.
I was just going to go watch and then do the interview afterwards. That was the plan. And all of a sudden, I'm in front, which I've done improv before. My career kind of started with improv.
Well, the key for us was you were ambulatory.
Yes, and that helped.
His feet work. Let's get him involved.
And I happened to be the token Latino that day, so I always like being the token, so that works.
All right.
And then the second time, and I'll post the pictures. For those of you watching when this airs, I'll post the pictures of the two ladies that I got to meet who were from Mexico. And I ended up talking to them for like 30 minutes just about food and when they were young and their grandkids. And my mom has Alzheimer's. Mm-hmm. So it was I'm going through an emotional stage right now, so I'm trying not to cry. But me not being able to have those conversations with my mom anymore, I have that vacancy available. And they just filled it in, and it was just. I went home and I was like, "Oh my God!" Like I cried. Okay, so I cried. Shut up! Don't judge me.
And that's I think especially in this country, there are pockets of the population I think that care more about their elders than others, unfortunately. Yeah. And I think that's a big thing in the Hispanic culture, from what I understand, is till the end Asians as well. I mean, I don't think anybody is putting their elders out on an ice floe anymore, but
no, because Mexico there's not much ice anymore, so we had to stop doing that.
True, the proverbial ice floe.
No, thank you, global warming.
Yeah, and again, I should go back and give a little more context. Again, what we found out with York as well was what we thought was we were walking into a sort of an assisted living center where the biggest problem is they have too much Viagra, and. And again,
which is a reality.
It is a reality, yes.
It is a reality.
I mean, there is a tremendous STD outbreak among the elder.
Yeah, because I do HIV education, and we talk about that at college level.
But as it turned out, and what we learned right away with York is it's not just an assisted living or retirement home. It's really more of an end of the line type place for people who are terminal. That's why pretty much everybody's in a wheelchair, or so there are long-term residents that this is kind of it for them, or people who have slipped in health and need to go someplace with more round-the-clock care than their current residents could provide. So not everybody could participate as much as they would have wanted or we hoped. But
this episode's about you, so I'm
sorry. Yes, but that's what I get so much out of.
Yes,
I can talk all day about it.
I'm going to repost.
Okay.
The video with Tanya and the whole group, so you guys can watch that.
Okay. Then let's put it together.
Okay, so then
about how I got to be involved.
Here, okay. So then, just doing this part of the conversation. So I met you there, and I became a fan of yours, and then I was like, because of your personal story, I'm like, you need to come on my show, and you were like, yes, I need to be on your show, and then just. Because it's Hollywood and LA, it took a while for us to reconnect.
But I have so much more to talk about now.
Yes, and we found that there were a lot of similarities in our stories too, which is really awesome. So that's why you're here. So anyway, so here we are today.
Here we are today.
But you were going to add something before we go into. about how that.
Oh well, essentially, I mean, because I don't know if you want to do your intro about how'd you put it together.
Are we ready for that?
Yeah, we could. Because I think that's sort of a good.
It feels like you've taken control over the show now, so I want to make sure
I'll do that.
That you're okay with this.
All right.
So Cameron Weir, tell us how you put it together.
Well, kind of from that moment where we met, I had already been on an incredible journey just immediately in the year beforehand in getting sober. And just to preface the date, as of December 9th, I celebrated 2 years of sobriety.
Congratulations.
As an alcoholic. And I initially came into recovery in 2015, but it wasn't that great.
There was some more research to be done.
There was more research to be done. I was taking a very superficial approach, which I can get into in a bit. But essentially, at the end of 2016, I found my way into Beit T'Shuvah, which is Jewish rehab. It's nearby here in Culver City.
Really?
Yeah. And Beit T'Shuvah, it's Hebrew for house of return. And it's been in the form that it's now in here in Culver City since about 2000, but it first began just over 30 years ago by a woman named Harriet Rosetto, and now the senior rabbi, Mark Borovitz, began initially as a halfway house, sort of for Jewish convicts coming out, because there really wasn't any sort of... Well, it began as Harriet Rosetto reaching out to Jewish convicts on the inside, because they didn't have much in the way of social services, and then helping them on the way out. And then it really just evolved into this incredible rehab program. And Beit T'Shuvah itself now is a long-term residential drug and alcohol treatment facility and shul and synagogue and incredible community.
Wow. Yeah,
which I'm still to this day a part. I was just there earlier tonight, having dinner, reaching out to new residents. And whilst at Beit T'Shuvah, so since their mantra sort of is this recover your passion, discover your purpose. And I absolutely did that there, because they really, from the very beginning, encouraged me to focus again on acting, on theater, because there was a music and theater department there at Beit T'Shuvah. So I got very involved in the groups there, creating some groups, storytelling groups. And they've been involved for a while as well with a program called the Miracle Project, which was started about 12 years ago. And essentially it through performing arts, helps autistic children and young adults.
Wow.
Just develop, just blossom. And very simply, the program I was involved in once a week was a class called Improv for Interaction. So using theater and improv games, we would help autistic kids and young adults develop their interaction and socialization skills.
Which has been proven scientifically that arts, music, creativity helps them come out of the shelter that they're in. So, yes.
Absolutely. It gives them another way to express themselves. I mean, for many of them, and I was fortunate enough to be working with kids all across this, and I say kids, some of them were not children, but I'm just saying they're kids.
In the loving manner kids.
In the loving manner kids. But they're on various levels of the spectrum, from very high functioning to retreated completely within their bodies. Yeah. But yeah, as you're saying, you find these new ways for them to express themselves.
Because I've seen people with very deep of the spectrum who are very musically inclined, and the moment they hear a tune, they completely memorize it, and then they can play it back instantly, and you would never imagine.
That's right. And they'll even be able to find ways to change the tune to express themselves. Yeah. Like that is their language now.
I never thought about that. Yeah, because I remember hearing some clown music, and this guy that they were showcasing completely slowed it down to this raw emotion. I remember I watched it on YouTube somewhere. If I find the YouTube again, I'll post it. But he completely stripped it down to the bare, and it was so deep. I was crying watching this video, going, "This is this fun, loving song," but you could see I know everywhere I was like, you can't see the reactions in autistic people. Right. Their facial expressions, you can't see that. But you can see sometimes the way their bodies relax or
well, I don't know who you're talking. You can very much see the emotions, and that what they might be referring to is autistic people have trouble sensing the emotions in others. That's what I'm talking about.
The social interaction.
They'll very much let their
I mean the social interaction part of it.
Yeah. So essentially the basic improv games that I grew up playing and learned in theater and went through with at Upright Citizens Brigade and whatnot. The essential first rule of improv is yes and. Well, we're helping them utilize that to actually listen and pay attention. So instead of staying retreated in their own world, they're staying focused. They're learning to ask questions. They're reactive listening, and they just develop and blossom along with that.
Now, I'm gonna ask you there because there's such a parallel. Talking about sobriety, me being 11 years clean and sober, I'll be 12 next year.
Mazel.
Thank you. I remember in my addiction, I was a crackhead, which is a very selfish drug. So it completely isolates you from the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I could relate. As much as I'm sure you would have loved to just hole up in a hotel room with as much crack as you could smoke, I felt the same way about vodka. Like, just leave me alone and let me drink.
Yeah,
and because you think you just by being left alone that it doesn't matter, but you're not realizing how many people that's affecting because they're now worried about you. And this is
the silent ripple.
We've seen all this potential in you, and
right. So you coming from that recovery background. Mm-hmm. Working with autistic folks.
And still early in my recovery as well.
There's a lot of parallels
there. Is.
What have you learned about yourself in that journey?
What I've really learned about a lot of humility is something that I've been told that I need, but I think I picked it up along the way. But being able to tap into my empathy and just kind of, no matter who you are, what you're struggling with, being able to go into a room like that, like Miracle Project, you immediately get out of yourself. Like whatever concern you might have been having, getting stuck on the 405, maybe like your hair appointment, it evaporates as soon as you walk in and see, anybody who could just with all due reason in the world say, I've been dealt this hand and
right.
And instead it's like, no. Like they don't even know to not do that. All they know is just to come in and have fun with each other.
Right.
And to just be blessed with that. It's one of the rare few places I think I've ever encountered in my life where it's just absolute love and everybody absolutely wants to be in there. Because even in recovery, you go into the rooms of AA or any sort of anonymous or certainly in rehab, it's filled with people that don't. I mean, nobody said like, yay, I'm going, great, I'm going to turn my life around. But it's even when it's for you, you're like,
Well, I don't know if I ever mentioned to you, because we haven't talked about it really, but when I had to go to court and I was given the choice between a year in jail and 3 months in rehab, and I thought about it.
Yeah.
I was like, are we talking like Oz HBO jail? Because I'll go there. They have fun there.
And you can still get drugs.
Yes. And the guys are hot.
That's right.
So that helps.
It's like, I'll dig it out of his ass. But they were talking about. That's two birds, one stone.
Yeah, I was like, I'll get drugs and get laid. Yes. But no, they were like, no, it's not like that. So I'm like, okay, then I'll go to rehab. I'm good. Okay, so moving on.
Right. So, it's just
we can get stuck in that spot.
We could. So, essentially, I was doing Miracle Project, and just blossoming on my own. Because, again, I had begun, thanks to Beit T'Shuvah, I was finding so much fulfillment in sobriety. I was finding all these activities that were giving me purpose, but fulfilling my desire to perform, but we'll probably get into it later as well, but a big part of why I feel validated. Now, the validation that I've needed, I, of course, could only find within myself, not from what I may not have gotten from a father figure growing up or from other people saying, yes, you're good enough. I had to just realize I don't need to become, I'm just good enough right now. And there are people that want me as I am right now. I just have to accept that myself. So I've gained a great deal of acceptance, especially since coming into Beit T'Shuvah in the past 2 years. The idea of expect nothing, accept everything. So even if you don't like the situation at hand, it's not going to last forever. It's going to give you, something to work past, work through, build from, and just accept everything that you can, because you're probably not going to be able to change it, but you can learn from it, so it doesn't happen again or continues to happen. Accept the good and the bad.
And the beautiful thing about recovery, and for everybody listening out there, it's like, well, I'm not an alcoholic. Okay, fine. But in this world, I've learned at my 47 years, we all have something.
We all have something. We've all got, and even just to remind people that, crack may have been your addiction. Alcohol is mine. Oh, crack is delicious. I've enjoyed the smell of cocaine. But addiction, and again, something that'll, for people who aren't quite familiar with the recovery world, there are certainly old timers with a lot of time. The guys that, the old timers in the rooms of AA who will not acknowledge drug users as being the same as them or whatnot, which is malarkey, because, addiction just very simply is hijacking your brain's dopamine delivery system. You can do that through alcohol, you can do that through crack, you can do that through exercise, you can do it with gambling, you can do it with sex. And any of these activities, if they begin having a detrimental effect on your life in any manner, whether it be, ignoring your family, financially, you can't hold down your job, this is not good. And so anybody, I think, at any given point in their time, in their lives, can stand to do a little reflection, introspection. The 12 steps is not bad.
No.
I'm not really a 12-step guy anymore.
Me either.
But I am, in the fact that I half kid and I half joke that I work every step that begins with a 1. So I work 4 of the steps. Obviously, I'm an alcoholic. What are you going to do? And then I jump immediately to, 10, the daily inventory. Like, say, how did they go? The acceptance part, How did it go well? What didn't work? Why not? 11, just staying in contact with our higher power. For me, that's my community. That's Beit T'Shuvah. So, hey, I was in the area on the way here. I'm going to stop in and say hi. Cool. And then 12 is then just being of service. And I'm finding so many ways. Beit T'Shuvah's helped me do that. Again, it tied back in what I was talking about earlier. Every day I'm able to do things that are so fulfilling for me, as a performer, as a comedian, as somebody who wants to express his gratitude as much as he can, especially to Beit T'Shuvah. But I'm allowed to do it in ways that are just so fulfilling for me. And so I was kind of talking about this after I came into Beit T'Shuvah in December 2016, and by August of 2017, and when I say it's long term, it's long term. Most rehab places are 60, 90 days.
Correct.
Beit T'Shuvah, many of the residents stay at least 6 months, if not up to a year or more. And I was there for a total of 13 and a half months. And I never paid a dime to stay there. The average, the cost for one resident to stay there is $12,500 per month. And they house at any given time about 120 residents.
Wow.
And very nice facilities too. 2 to a room. Each room has its own bathroom. It's on par with many nice places.
Not that we want you to make a reservation, but should you?
But should you need it, now there are many residents who are paying that. They also accept health insurance, a variety of health insurance. I think they might be getting to the point of being able to accept Medi-Cal. I'm not sure yet. But they also have the mantra that no one's ever turned away simply for lack of paying, because they work with people on a sliding scale, or they also offer scholarships. Now, any program that receives county funding is required to offer general relief, a certain amount. And that's the Salvation Army, that's other type places. Anybody that receives, Beit T'Shuvah actually doesn't receive any county funding. They're not required to do this at all. Yet they offer more openings to people who can't pay than any other facility I can think of in the area.
It's just really cool. I want to go do a podcast episode there.
Well, on Friday I'm taking a cake for 2 years. But you're going.
I'm going to be out of town, yes.
But believe me, I'm there frequently enough. I'm sure you'd love to come to Shabbat services every Friday.
I'm intrigued.
Are we still live?
Yes, we're back on. You're back on.
Well, I got the.
He got the finger. And for those of you that are like, what? No, for those of you that are listening, you probably don't notice this on the audio, but you do on the video. I like to record in 20-minute chunks so I can keep track of where conversations go. Because I'm taking notes and I'm like, oh, that was in the first 20, that was in the second 20, that was in the third 20. So I usually give my guests the finger.
All right.
Like, pause, and then we continue.
Oh, so we've already done 20 minutes, huh?
Yes.
Okay, good to know. Good to know.
Yes.
That's usually when I'm on stage, I'm getting a light. So.
That's why I tell everybody that comes on, like, when I give you the first finger is 20, the second finger is 40, and then I finally will tell you we're about to...
Well, you're such a rapt audience that, it's hard to know that this... So I'm going to keep this as to my growth as a person, as well as talking about Beit T'Shuvah. And I was saying, so I was there on what they call a scholarship. And also after a few months, you have an opportunity to have a work therapy type thing, where it's an internship and they find a place for you. And I was able to create my own internship doing creative arts, because I have a degree in theater from UC Irvine, and I have experience as a performing arts specialist working. I had a scholarship doing that at UC Irvine in Orange County schools. I worked for a little while in LA as well as Palm Springs schools doing that. So I thought, okay, I'd like to be able to put this to use here. And we had a couple of groups already, an improv group, and then a sort of a group that would utilize, we called it, it's changed the name now. Now it's essentially just a storytelling group. But it would help people sort of that are still have lingering trauma from events on their mind. I don't want to say it's trauma therapy, because that's something else entirely. But basically something that bothered you in interaction with somebody. Could have been yesterday, could have been 40 years ago. But you briefly tell it, and then two other people in the group sort of reenact it as you told it. And then we'll talk about what happened, what could have done differently, but only for you. Because you can't change what that other person did.
Right.
So then that person playing you will apply that change and then see if that affects the outcome. So it's a little bit of improv, it's a little bit of your storytelling, and it's the ability for you to process events, not only like, oh, you know what, I can see how it, so it's the opportunity for you to grow for something and be able to apply that change in the future.
People can see this, obviously, and if you're watching the video, you can only see my guys, but I am in awe of that. That is such an amazing concept for growth. I mean, just, obviously you can't change the past, but you can change the way you perceived it or the expectation you had of the situation, right. Therefore changing the way you feel now. Mm-hmm. And knocking down that roadblock that you have towards your own spiritual, personal growth. That just blew my mind. That just blew my mind. And it's such a simple concept.
It is. And again, also simple just in describing it. And, when it works is great. And sometimes it doesn't work. And again, I do need to give a shout out to folks like Michael Kaminer, who's already on staff and went through Beit T'Shuvah himself. But these are people who recognize things in me. So it allowed me to be a part of this and take on an internship and grow like this with Beit T'Shuvah. He also brought me in to help with the Miracle Project every week. And again, you're also in a situation, it being rehab. So even though we're having this fun, improv group and things like that, you're still in... Can I curse?
No, yeah.
Still fucking rehab.
Well, I wanted to say this when you talked earlier about the 12 steps, because I started, obviously, with 12 step. Over the years, my spiritual growth has grown more, and my spiritual practice has grown more, that I've shied away from the rooms, but the foundation is there.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And I think, the things I was thinking about earlier, the acceptance, the being of service, that's, I'm taking... And Beit T'Shuvah itself it's sort of a three-tiered structure in the fact that it's very much treatment in the traditional sense of utilizing 12-step tenets. You go to a meeting every day. They have stuff within the organization. There's also traditional psychological approaches that you have your own therapist. There's a psychiatrist on staff in case any sort of medication is needed. And there's also, of course, the spiritual component. And as with pretty much any program in recovery, even the ones that are based in atheism, but they're still, and I am an atheist myself, which is why my higher power is my community. But the spiritual component is Judaism, which I really latched on to as well, because essentially Judaism at its heart is just a guide to living well.
All right. Well, before we continue, because we keep talking about where you are now, but I want,
yes,
which is beautiful,
which is great.
Yes. For those of you that are audio, Cameron's a good-looking guy. Let's put it out there. You'd be a bear in the gay community. You'd be a bear.
I'm trying to be an otter.
No,
I understand.
You're too hairy to be an otter.
Okay, all right.
And you're too tall to be an otter.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm a slim bear, slimmer bear.
No,
yes.
But
I think I'm still a cub though.
Well, you're learning, but
Yeah,
you're
I'm
straight
learning.
too. So we
But I'm queer spawn.
we keep you in that space. So
Yeah, I'm well versed in the culture because I have two dads. So
which is fair, but still, that's why he's sitting on the other side of the table,
right?
And my boyfriend is here somewhere,
right? And I'm wearing, for those who are just listening at home, I'm wearing a full head to toe burqa. Otherwise, Daniel.
Yeah. Yes. I made sure I told him when he walks in here, we will cover you up.
Why are we wearing a beekeeper suit?
Yeah,
for this? We're not.
Because I'm handsy.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say that out there. Can you, if you were welcoming you into rehab, if you were the welcome wagon when you came in the beginning, can you describe yourself?
Angry. I mean, at least when I got into Beit T'Shuvah, because at that point, but just before that, I'd been living in San Diego, where I initially came into recovery in April 2015, and I'd been just problem drinking, alcoholic drinking for about a decade. Just working in the restaurant industry, occasionally doing some acting stuff. And if I was doing a play or something, I would keep my shit together. I could say like, I'm not drinking for this. But it's like, well, so you cannot drink to go play, Puck in a Midsummer Night's Dream, but you can't not drink just to keep this job. Just to pay your bills. It didn't help though that I was a bartender.
Been there. Yeah.
And with those ideas of like, I just need to live like Charles Bukowski and just really grow from this. I'm teaching myself, and no, it's and well, after UC Irvine, I moved to LA to try and have a career as an actor, and immediately it just because I thrive under structure, so I went from having structure and loving everything about college to having no structure and not really sure how to go about getting what I wanted, or not even knowing what I wanted. And that sort of led into just drinking more and more, and not, from going out and drinking to just staying in, and then instead of drinking in the evening to drinking before work, and just a vicious cycle of just losing jobs. And the restaurant community, even LA, is small.
So angry, no structure.
Right. So, I'll connect it real quick. So, just a long history of then moving to Palm Springs. My dad's, who had a place there that they could put me in, kind of got me. That was my first attempt at what's called a geographic cure, thinking that moving location will solve all my problems. It, of course didn't, because I wasn't even acknowledging these problems. And I was doing okay for a while in Palm Springs. Got briefly involved with the school district, doing some arts education. That got cut from the budget. I did a great deal of theater there, but at the same time, was trying to make a living working in restaurants, and just it's not fulfilling. It's not happy,
Right.
It's and crossing that into my 30s, not really living close to where I think I'd be happy and where I'd be successful. Not doing the work that I think is fulfilling. Like I'm an amazing server. So many people do. I'm a great bartender, but I don't want to be doing that.
Yes.
And think about it, when you do see those amazing servers and those great bartenders, and no disrespect to anybody who's made a great career and is killing it, making $1,000 a night at Morton's or something.
But But you're
What?
not Tom Cruise and
Right.
Flamingos.
Okay. No, let me put it this way. I think there's this between that guy who yes is
walked
a
in the
level
door.
3 sommelier and just killing it, and making hundreds of dollars a night at a great restaurant, and just somebody who looks terrible at a dive bar, and it's like, wow, that guy's lived, and I'm thinking, well, I'll be that guy one day, and kind of half looking forward to it, when sort of that sort of compromise of, okay, so I can't just have the hotel room and the unlimited supply of vodka, so I'll split the difference and just work at this shitty bar where it's okay if I'm half plastered the entire time.
So that's the guy that came in through the doors.
Not even worse than that, because nobody will even have that. And if you even live long enough to be, 55 but looking 75 behind some dive bar. No. So then I tried another geographic here, moving to San Diego with a poor girlfriend of mine at the time in 2013, because at that point I wasn't going to be able to get any more jobs in the Palm Springs area. And again, the same problems are happening, but I think there was enough concern, and I was willing to listen, that I went to a detox and then did an intensive outpatient program. And fortunately, I had a job at the time, so I qualified for disability. And I was able to be on disability for pretty much from April 2015 to the end of 2015. And in that time, I became Mr. AA. I was going to a meeting every day. I was at the Ocean Beach Clubhouse, became a secretary, just burning through the steps.
90.
Had a good sponsor, which turned out to be a Trump supporter, so I don't really talk anymore. But
yeah, it's like I won't dump my sponsor because he relapses. I'll dump him because he's a Trumper.
No, he was. Well, no, that didn't really become an issue until much later, and then after I'd already moved to LA and stuff. Or no, leading up to that, the fact that he hasn't changed his mind yet. Anyway, we're not here to discuss
That's another show.
Topical political issues. Point being, don't let topical political issues get in the way of your program of recovery. So I started doing, but I was doing very well. Like I said, for about 10 and a half months, I was sober. I was doing the meetings. I was Mr. AA, and I even started going back to school. Started grad school to become a counselor, to become a therapist, focusing on drug and alcohol treatment.
Right.
But it was very superficial, Daniel.
How so?
And I see that now. Or I saw that once I came to Beit T'Shuvah and got a real perspective on how to do this. It was very superficial because I wasn't getting any real work done. I wasn't really tapping into why I was drinking in the first place, or what hole, I hit again to get into the cliches, but yeah, it really is a hole that you're trying to fill. And I was mistaken in thinking, again, I was chasing notoriety because I wanted to become a marriage and family therapist specializing in drug and alcohol treatment so I could have a book and just be known for this. I was, again, chasing notoriety. I was chasing validation.
Yeah.
And unfortunately the disability ended, as it should have, and I went back to work doing the only thing I knew, which was bartending, and again thinking, I got this licked, I'm Mr. AA. Well, that of course didn't last, and started drinking.
I can swim with sharks,
right?
No problem.
Well, I wasn't even working at just a basic place. Because that New Year's Eve in 2015, I worked an event at the Town and Country Resort. It was just all vodka, Red Bulls, and rum and cokes all night. Super easy, not even tempted. Well, I went and got myself at a job at this craft cocktail bar in the East Village, where they're the only place for this locally crafted small batch gin, and we're having whiskey sour contest and who can make the best old fashioned, and it's not a good place. And I wasn't honest about it either. I didn't go in there at the interview and say, by the way, I'm a recovering alcoholic. I still think I can do the job, but just so you know, I don't drink. Didn't even say that. The first night I was training with the manager, and he's like, hey, let's do a shot. And what I said was, that was my opportunity right there to say, I don't drink, I'm an alcoholic. I said, you know what, I have a 7 a.m. cycling class, which wasn't untrue. I did. But, so I'm just not going to drink.
That was just a Band-Aid.
Yeah. So it didn't take long before, there's a little bit extra in this tin. I wondered if this does pretty good too. A week later, show in for my Saturday afternoon shift, and the manager said, Karen, before you clock in. I need to talk to you in the office. So before I get to your closeout, which makes absolutely no sense, I was looking at the video from last night, and is that karate? Are you doing karate? Is that what happened to the door? You doing karate? I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, apparently I was.
Wow.
So, and I didn't learn from that, and the whole thing that the A's teach you to, pick up the phone as soon as, I just didn't have the network, or wasn't utilizing this network that I thought I had built for myself, this whole support. For 10 months I'd been telling people, oh, it's so easy, just don't drink, or if you're tempted, just call why didn't you call me? It's that illusory control. Like, I can control this. I can turn it around.
And
I didn't. And then it began. And that other old AA cliche of that you pick up right back where you were when you stopped drinking.
Yeah.
It's not that slow burn into it again. It's like, nope. We're going right back to blackouts.
It's old buddies, old jokes. Let's get back to it.
I didn't even have old buddies to go to. It was just right back.
No, I mean the alcohol, the drug, because
yeah.
your old buddy, and you have these old memories and old jokes.
And that was, and so 2016 is just, my girlfriend ended up, moving out, leaving me, and that's tough. She'd already kind of put up with a couple of years of me as an alcoholic, and came to me saying I convinced her to do it. Saw me get sober, saw me become this great version of myself, and already kind of, which is a struggle for somebody, I think too. That it's as happy as the are to see you get sober, but it's also why now? Why couldn't you have done this for me? Why
right?
Which and they hate themselves for thinking that.
Yeah. Because I lost a lot of friends when I sobered up. A lot. Because I wasn't the fun go-to person anymore. Yeah. I was. They just didn't think I was.
And as you become so wholeheartedly involved in it, you're like, hey, why don't you try going to an Al-Anon meeting? This isn't my problem. It's your problem. You lush.
Very true.
Like, I didn't fall asleep with a crack pipe in my mouth. You did.
Yeah.
Those curtains are charred, not because of me. But, yeah, so... so it got very bad, and got evicted from the apartment we had in the East Village. Convinced somebody to rent me a room in their house in North Park. Going in and out of meetings, trying to keep it together, lying, manipulating my parents, and then finally my dad at the fall down the scene put me in a sober living there in San Diego. Made the first payment. I said, "That's it. We're done now. It's the streets after this." And I started drinking again there too. Got kicked out, and was kind of indigent for a good 4-day weekend in San Diego. And then I had a buddy, one of the last few friends, old friend of mine here in LA, who said, "Come sleep on my couch," or come. It's Thanksgiving coming. It's holidays. What are you doing? Oh, come visit, because I had done that the year before, but sober. And so he didn't realize what he was getting.
Wow,
the condition
Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
And even, that's the thing. With Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, sober, I'm Mr. Hyde. It only gets worse. But what he thought would be sort of an odd couple situation quickly became days of wine and roses. And he said, is it working after a few weeks of that? And I found Beit T'Shuvah. It's not easy to get into. I mean, they say don't turn it over like a paying, but there's still a wait list. And somehow I got in 3 days after finding out the place.
Wow.
There's
That's
some sort of providence in my life, and from day one, I've had tremendous gratitude, and will eternally have gratitude.
What was different this time?
So coming in to answer your question again, or for the first time, and not so roundabout a way.
Well, hold on. I'm going to give you the 2 fingers.
It's been party.
Okay, so for everybody listening, we're talking to Cameron Weir and about his particular story. So what was different?
So what was different is that idea of acceptance. That this is it. Like, I've already had so many last chances. For some reason, I've been given this chance, this miracle of a place. And so literally there is, it's this or the streets. And also acknowledging that, yes, I mean, I've already been through that first step. That I acknowledge, like, yeah. And I've known that my life was infinitely better when I was sober. And not dry, not drinking, but in recovery, but working towards something.
Right. Not just reading the book, but living the book.
And so yeah, now still there was a lot of work to be done on me, for me, by me. And I came in there angry with myself that this is where I was at, 35 at the time. And but also incredibly grateful. It was a weird place.
Right.
Because I'm like incredibly grateful. And immediately sort of, I guess, directing my anger out on people that I didn't think were grateful for being there. It's like, this place is saving our lives, man. Because again, I was in this very of a strange Venn diagram of, happy to be there. Again, preface of this, it's still fucking rehab.
Right.
This is not anybody's dream vacation. Okay, and for a lot of people, this is my first real inpatient. There are people there the third, fifth, 20th time at various places, even their third, fourth time at Beit T'Shuvah. Because Beit T'Shuvah is also very good about letting people come back, depending on the circumstances. Because that's it. That's the name of addiction. I thought I had it licked in 2015 after a week of meetings.
Well, before you continue, because you mentioned that a lot of people gave you your last chance.
Yeah. Up to that, like when my father, like last time I saw my father, like when he put me in the sober living and whatnot, they were prepared to never see me again, which is a terrible thing for a parent to have to do.
So again, because that's how I maintain part of my sobriety is there's alcoholic Daniel, there's drug addict Daniel, and then there's me now.
Right.
And I had to sit down and look at them. It's like, this fucking attitude is going to get you out there again, so you better get your shit together.
That's true.
And I look at both of them and go, stop. Because I'm not going to put up with your crap anymore. Mm-hmm. Had you given yourself the last chance?
As of now, yes. I mean, I know that today, should anything happen, I do actually have that legitimate support network if I use it.
Right.
Do I foresee needing to do that today? Tomorrow? No. Am I going to maintain it? Yeah. And I think that's the difference. Is and again, and in the 2 years since being part of Beit T'Shuvah, I've attained that validation. I've attained the acceptance, mostly by myself. It's a weird thing, and I'm sure you've talked to a lot of people that seek the adulation, that enjoy the spotlight.
I'll raise my hand. Yes.
You yourself, yes, you can relate to this idea of chasing that spotlight, chasing that validation. But once you get it, not feeling worthy of it. It's like, yes, thank you for putting. Shit. But it's like, do I deserve it though? Or it's like, now I got to prove that.
Yeah. I'm going to give you a couple of examples before we continue, because I want people to understand that there is this. It's not uncommon when you go into rehab. Yes, because I've told people I went in on June 21st, 2007. Best freaking summer of my life. It was summer camp. It was me and 28 other guys in this house during the summer cooking, and we were fixing things, and yes, we went to meetings and stuff. But the moment that I walked in, they drove me there. The moment I walked in, I sat down on the couch while they went through my bags. And when I sat down on the couch, I remember letting out this huge sigh and just melting into the couch and going, I'm home. Like, this is it. Like, they're going to take care of me. Mm-hmm. And so long as I let them take care of me for a little bit, I will survive.
It absolutely was that for me. Also, that's still that nagging voice in the head, like, this is your life now.
Yeah.
You know? And also, too, it's like, but also worried because I had nowhere else to go. Like, the night, Friday, December 9th was my last drink of 2016. I managed to use the last, my friend, who's still one of my best friends. And we've grown together so much since then. But at the time, it's like, and the best thing for me, this isn't where you got to go. You're destroying my life and yours. I used the last little bit of cash I had to stay in a cheap motel in Santa Monica and completely broke Monday or Sunday evening, I think. No, Monday, when, because on Friday I tried to go and do a detox in Santa Monica at UCLA Medical Center. At that point, I didn't have any health insurance. My Medi-Cal had lapsed. I didn't know why, for what reason, or probably my fault. And I wasn't dying, so they couldn't take me. And then he's on me to the motel, went back Monday. I'm like, well, you don't have insurance, and I'm indigent entirely. They gave me a list of places that, like as I said earlier, offer general relief. They're kind of funny. Beit T'Shuvah was on that list. Beit T'Shuvah should not have been on that list. Make a phone call. A couple hours later, as I'm standing in the parking lot for a shelter in Venice Tabernacle. So, in order to have a bed that night, I had to spend 2 hours at a very, let's just say that the minister had some very interesting views on your lifestyle, and the lifestyle of my dad's, but we're not going to get into that.
Taco eating?
They have some friends who enjoy tacos. They have a taco eating son, but I flipped it on you. But again, I was very happy, grateful to be there. But while I'm waiting for that bed, it said, okay, briefly tell me your story. Okay, arranged for Wednesday to have a longer phone interview. Did that, and by Thursday I was in. Now, in the meantime, I did some great work. Now being sober and having my head toward it by going to social services, getting my Medi-Cal straightened out, getting the EPT straightened out. A counselor there, an amazing woman, saw that the desperation in my eyes must have, and arranged for me to have a voucher from the county to stay in a cheap motel for a week. That's the thing. Those social services women, they work so hard. And men. But everybody there. And the cases that they see. But that's the thing, though, too. They can only help you if you go in for help. If you're doing the work to have, So, and you know what? That's a whole other podcast for another day. About how to help the
obviously, for everybody listening, he will come back.
Yes.
We haven't even scraped.
Right. We haven't even gone past.
Yeah, you're going to have to come out to Laguna so we can have,
So basically, so I come to Beit T'Shuvah, so incredibly grateful. I'm like, okay, this is, and from what I've already learned about Beit T'Shuvah, this is a program I want to be a part of. This is work I can do. It's not going to be thumping me over the head with, or at least I thought I can deal with the Jewish aspect. That's fine. And turns out I've thrown myself into. I am also a patrilineal Jew. I'm trying to fit all this information.
I know. But you're good. We still have another. 15
So,
minutes.
I mean, you don't have to be Jewish to go there, but it helps, and you'll certainly leave a lot Jewier than when you went in. My father's side is Jewish, and my mother's is Scottish. So I'm just cheap and angry.
I just had Mel Brooks pop in my head.
Yeah, if you're not on J-Swipe going in, you will be when you leave. And now I'm doing my comedy act. And but really, I think they saw a lot in me that, I realized much later, especially as I started giving back to Beit T'Shuvah in ways like, you see, he's worth it. I didn't feel that at the time. And even once I was in there, I was feeling, one, not good enough to be there. Like, wow, how did I get in here? It's that lack of validation. And at the same time thinking, I'm not bad enough to be here. Like, I'm just an alcoholic. And even in just the 6 days of not drinking, I've kind of gotten my shit together. They're going to realize pretty quick that I don't need to be here, that this bed can be used for somebody else, or at least somebody who's paying their way. It was a weird feeling my first month or so. And I was, in the first couple weeks, I was still tremendously pink clouding because I was so happy to be there. I was like, all right, we're getting our shit together, but don't seem like you're doing too well. But at the same time, get the help you need. But then, I had a great counselor. who just kind of assured me, and who himself went, like 80% of the people that worked there went through Beit T'Shuvah.
Okay.
And you start taking on a role there in the work therapy. So a lot of people, they become program facilitators, and then Beit T'Shuvah helps them go back to school and get their certificates and whatnot in drug and alcohol counseling, and then become counselors. It's an amazing place. Again, and I had this great counselor who, I think he only has a year or so more than me, but it took him a couple times, from a much different background than me in the gang culture. But again, we're in a place where you'd never think either of us would ever need to meet and learn from each other and have so much in common. But here we are.
Speaking of learning, we're at the point of the show where I ask my guests to share some words of wisdom with my listeners.
Okay.
So, Cameron Weir, what words of wisdom do you have to share?
I said it earlier, but the concept of expect nothing and accept everything, that applies to so much more than just recovery. I think just any sort of situation you're walking into, as soon as you start placing expectations, and that's not to say, I think there's I should never even expect anything what's an unreasonable thing that's simple, but I guess when you're expecting everything to go your way and it starts getting very unreasonable, and then when it doesn't, and that just rattles you to the core and you just can't function, like, how is this an issue? Yeah, I think I learned from that.
Before we go,
I don't think I explained that as well as I would have liked to.
We have about 10 minutes left.
Oh, great. So I can take another shot at that.
And this is where I get into my deeper questions.
Oh, good.
Are you still angry?
That's a good question. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But not in the way that it was. Because it's a combination of things. Good, you've redirected me, because it's the point that we were trying to get to is, in the past couple of years, I've been physically in an amazing place. That has allowed me to become emotionally in a place. Doing these things that not only at the time, because the other great thing about Beit T'Shuvah is at some point you have to leave. I moved out February 1st of this year. But nobody's pushed out until they're ready. As long as you're doing what you're supposed to be, as long as you're contributing, staying sober, they're going to be mama bird and push you out.
Right.
But they're going to make sure that, your wings are working. What I never thought, I'll tell you what, I don't have a right to be angry. Again, that's me. Because I'm doing today, just sitting here talking to you, and we haven't even touched on these things that I get to do. Yeah. Like you introduced me as an actor comedian, we haven't even touched on me doing any of that yet, because going into Beit T'Shuvah 2 years ago, that wasn't even a back burner. That's like, no, I had a chance. Didn't even have a chance. Didn't even take the chance. But, if I'm working in a thrift store now for next 20 years, whatever. Again, there's a Beit T'Shuvah thrift store, a remarkable place.
Yes, I'm sure everybody who listens to the show knows that there's no
residents work there.
Yeah, no.
So not to put down anybody, and I volunteer for my first. I volunteered every Saturday morning at the thrift store.
Okay, so let me talk about the anger, because you already said you are angry. Of
course,
yeah. And I'll admit that there are times when I'm still angry, and we'll talk about my.
The difference is not nearly as much as it used to be, and because again, I can look at it. I can say, why am I really bothered? Why is this worth it? And usually it's me. It's not the other in the situation, of course, as pretty much all anger eventually is, as well as, and it's much less so because I've often also had a problem with depression over the years, and depression itself is really just anger turned inwards. So even acknowledging that these things that, why is it bothering me? There's no reason for this. Is this the hill I want to die on? Is this even make any sense? And sometimes it's amusing. Like I certainly have moments of dryness, so to speak. It'll happen on the road.
We all do. Yeah.
I'm driving in LA.
The finger,
and And then being a comedian, it sometimes helps to have those moments of dryness, which you can talk about, on stage. But I think just as much, and again, it's okay to be angry. It's okay to feel your feelings. These things are not meant to be bottled up. They're meant to express them. Find somebody you trust. Find somebody with a podcast, and just vent.
So when anger would take you towards the bottle, where does anger take you now?
I wouldn't even say anger took me toward a bottle.
Okay.
Just not wanting to process anything, just not wanting to do anything about anything. It's like, okay, this is the simple solution. It's not, I'm a solution. This is my time machine to dealing with it tomorrow.
Okay, but I'm gonna tap in a little bit there because that's thinking now. Mm-hmm. I think the same thing. But when we're in it, I'm so mad I'm going to go and
right. If that anger, I think is also more of an I'll show you.
Right.
Like, you're making the point that I don't want to acknowledge, and fine. That's how you think I am, fine, then I'm going to go be that. Right. So thanks for giving me, thanks for co-signing my bullshit reason to go
I'm drinking because you pissed me off.
Right.
So, but that's mentality then. Obviously, now after 2 years, we think differently. But when you get mad now, how do you channel that anger?
I think, I've always had sometimes healthy, sometimes not so healthy defense mechanism of humor.
No.
Yeah. And
a comedian with that defense?
And here's the thing. I think, when you put this toward me, and it's good. This is how I deal with it. This is exactly it. I still go to meetings, but I don't go to AA meetings. I just have a constant group chat with friends that I'm constantly meeting with. I'm talking. I check in with people at Beit T'Shuvah. There are people that always know how I'm doing, I guess, and that's a wonderful thing.
Mm-hmm. For those of you listening,
the most important thing that Beit T'Shuvah gave me that I didn't even know I needed was a community.
Mm-hmm.
A community that wants me. A community that recognizes me, that accepts me, that encourages me, and points out my bullshit, calls me on it. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, because I needed to find some validation to make sure that I belonged.
Yeah.
And rather than go find it on a movie set or on a stand-up set or whatever, I was like, I need to go back. And I have my Monday morning check-ins.
Yeah.
And I have about 20 friends of mine from across the country that I check in with on Monday morning. Monday morning check-in, and then they'll write back. It's like, how are you doing? How are you doing?
Right.
And when I don't feel well or I'm sick and I don't do it, by Tuesday morning, they're texting me, where were you yesterday? What's going on? How are you? And that kind of brings me back to like, I'm not alone. Because I get physically sick post-cancer, and there's things that happen. And I go in my head and I'm like, nobody loves me.
I think but these are all still good things to have.
Yeah.
They'll always ask me, do you get nervous before going on stage, before you go do do stand up or do a play? And I say, yes, but that's good. That's a good feeling. That means I care. Right. If you're getting angry about something, great. That means you care about it.
Yeah.
Now, let's figure out why you care so much and what you're actually going to do about it. Because just feeling the feeling, that's not productive. What are you going to do with that feeling? Whether it's anger or love or anything in between. It's just, what do you actually... Now, it's easier to do that things with the good feelings, because you're obviously probably with people as well that want to share that and are doing the same thing as you, like Miracle Project or making some seniors laugh in a nursing home.
So, before we end, will you come back?
I would love to.
I think we haven't even... there's so much that because obviously for everybody listening knows that when you come on the show for the first time, it's always about you. Like I want
right. I want to know how you're doing.
And then the second time around, it's more of a conversation, and let's dig into it. But you got stuff coming up.
I do. So especially for Beit T'Shuvah, on February 23rd, that's a Saturday evening, I'm hosting, and there's a sisterhood which consists of all these mothers of former and some of them current residents. They've created the sisterhood themselves, which is a great support group that gives back and through Beit T'Shuvah. And they're producing, and they're having me host and bring together a whole bunch of comedian friends that I have, some sober, some not sober, but for a night of stand-up comedy at Beit T'Shuvah. I think we're going to do a suggested $20 donation, since we're a nonprofit and we're not going to sell tickets. But Beit T'Shuvah, the whole sanctuary, it holds about 500 people, so it's going to be a great big event. And yeah, I mean, I guess if you can tag it with, I'll forward you, I guess, information as we have it.
And we'll
you can
put
tag
it on
the video.
But will you come back before that event? So
I would love to come back
promote it
before
again?
that event. Even this Friday, I know you've been out of town, but because at Beit T'Shuvah every Friday night we do Shabbat services, and it's very progressive. So in the Jewish faith, on beginning sundown Friday to sundown Saturday is Shabbat, which really ties into recovery, because essentially that's just an opportunity for you to relax and reflect on the week that was, and what worked, what didn't. It's a 10th step for the week. And some celebrate it much more conservatively than others. Beit T'Shuvah is very progressive. And also, since it's also a community of recovery, people who are celebrating a year that week take a cake, or even around that area. So mine is December 9th, but I'm taking a cake this Friday because a very good friend of mine, we were in Beit T'Shuvah at the same time. He left around the same time. We were best friends. Like he's not really in the 12-step. He's found meditation. You should really.
So I was going to say, so he's coming on my show, right?
Yeah,
you're pushing him
really
over.
Want to talk to him?
You're going to push him over here, yes.
And an amazing musician. But
what's his name again?
Jeremy Evans.
Jeremy Evans. I'm putting you on the spot. Yeah. Please come on the show.
Somebody's getting your phone number, Jeremy.
Woohoo!
And you want a bear? He's a bear, big old bear. And we will take cakes together now. We did it last year, and we're doing it again this year. It's the equivalent. I mean, you take cakes at meetings too, but since it's not really a chip thing, so Beit T'Shuvah. Yeah, so I'm doing that this Friday, but I would love for you to come to any other sort of Shabbat once you're back in town. It's open entirely to the public.
I just sent him a friend request.
We have so many people, because in our community, it's not just the residents, it's of course former residents, it's the family and friends of current and former residents, because entire families have gotten help through Beit T'Shuvah, because it's not just, and a lot of rehabs, I think you may have seen it too, they're very good at helping you blame others for your problems. Right. Or if the family wants to get involved, it's like, what did you do to get it? Like, first of all, it's hard enough to get the family, on board and want to be involved in something that they're like, we didn't do this, or we're barely even understanding the situation.
I was peer counselor at the rehab that I went to, and did a lot of mediation between families and. But
Beit T'Shuvah is the opposite of that. And
there's a couple of things that I want to do.
Okay.
First, for the 23rd, I want to handle your red carpet or your entrance. I want to put a camera up and talk to people and talk to the comedians. So
absolutely.
Okay, good. Second, since I won't be here on Friday, because we're coming to Texas. When I get back, I want us to sit down and do another hour show. And then whatever I can do with whatever tools that I have in my belt, I would love to volunteer somehow or bring something that I have.
Right. Well, certainly, I mean, we had so much fun doing the Still Kicking again last Friday, so it's been too long since we did that, and so we're definitely going to keep trying to do that with whoever we can get together for it.
For those of you, before I say goodbye to you, and for those of you watching or listening, I have launched. You've heard me talk before, kind of superficially, about the All Game, which is this really cool spiritual support group therapy session board game, and it's about your chakras and aligning yourself and centering yourself, and it's usually played between 2 and 6 people on a night. It's about a 4-hour game, but since my friends are scattered all over the country, and I have a more of a social media presence, I've launched my online All Game, so you can actually those people who listen to it know we're very close to the fire department.
They do know I'm parked in their own police business.
Yeah, they're. Oh yes, of course. I'll tell you about that in a minute. So for those of you that are watching or listening, Monday nights, 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, we do a live version of the All Game, and you get to sit at home and play with me. And you have to watch to understand. I can't really explain it. So go to my YouTube page and look for the All Games. There's 2 episodes up right now as we're speaking. This is December 19th. So on December 19th, there's 2 episodes. Play them. It doesn't matter when you do it. They're not time sensitive. And you will catch on so that when we play live, you can play along with us. So go check that out. And I will show you that. And I think...
For those that are just listening, I wagged my finger at
Yes, we're wagging fingers at each other. I'll show you the video after we're done here, and you will see how that, for somebody in recovery, it's such an amazing game to play.
Right.
Such an amazing game. Where are you now? Before we go, where are you now?
Where am I? Oh well, I live in Koreatown, but I'm in an incredible place because I have daily reminders that I'm doing what I'm doing it well. I'm well, and I'm actively doing well. I'm physically doing well, and I'm just reminded that I'm doing well. I just on a daily basis have opportunities presented to me, and I mean things are just begetting things. I mean I just through endeavors of mine just to give back and be of service, then spawns things that are good for me professionally, and which then lead to other opportunities.
So, can you look at the camera? Because for those of you listening, we have a camera playing. You can go on YouTube and watch some of these videos back. Can you look at the camera?
Yeah.
And there is somebody.
You want me to say it gets better?
No, please no, because that's so gay. There's somebody standing at the doorway of some AA meeting, some recovery center, somewhere, and they don't know if they should walk through the door.
Well, if you're that close, you should. It's if you have a problem. I mean, people of course will be telling you have a problem, but you have to acknowledge it first. And if you have an inkling, then you probably do. And there are many ways to get through it, to get into it. And it's not going to hurt you to just walk into one. If you don't like that meeting, I'm going to try another one. But at least talk to somebody. Verbalize the problem. You can have so much going on in your head, but until you actually say the words, "I have a problem," that literally is the first step if you're going in that direction. But it's probably more than you wanted. But essentially, you probably know you have a problem, but you have to do something. People can only pull you by the hand so much. You can lead a horse to water, can't make him drink, or make him stop drinking. That's been the case.
Good one.
But yeah, you have to do something yourself.
Thank you.
And there's so many people that want to help you. You have to want to help them.
Thank you. And I want to give a shout out to my home, Bay Area Recovery Center out in Dickinson, Texas. To all the guys that still work out there, friends of mine. To all the guys that ended up staying and living out in Dickinson. To the guy that didn't give me a job. I wanted to work there so bad, and they were like, this place is not for you. You got to get out.
It's the same thing with Beit T'Shuvah. As much as I contributed there as I could, they never offered me. Well, there's probably other reasons for that, but again, because there's so much for me to do beyond that, and they know I'm not going anywhere.
They looked at me when I went and applied.
I know where they're serving dinner.
Yeah, I went in and applied for the job, and they were like, "You're awesome. People like you. You're great, but you've got more to do out there. So go." Yeah. And so thank you. I would not be in California now if it wasn't for you guys pushing me out of the nest. So I appreciate that. I was very angry at the time.
And a citizen.
I am an American citizen.
Since we last saw each other, right?
I became American May 23rd, 2018. I'm American, and I do believe that I'm entitled to a lot of things. So I'm just going to put that out there. I am one of those Mexicans, Mexican Americans. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate. We went over a little bit, but whatever, guys, shut up. We're gonna have him back because there's so much more. I need to round you around because I see your pattern in answering questions. I need to round you. But next time you're gonna come to Laguna so that I can go take you out.
I would love to
Take you out to my favorite taco place.
I would love that.
And
yeah, I love coming back to. Because I said I went to UC Irvine, so I love going to see Orange County as much as I can.
And I do work at UCI. I do HIV education at UCI.
Right.
I was just there a couple of days ago. So for everybody listening, we have been here with Cameron Weir, or as we say in Spanish, Cameron Weir, talking about his life. And then, again, some of you are going to be hungry and go, you didn't go deep enough. I know there's more to ask, but
Baby steps.
I knew that his story was going to be so huge. He's got a big personality. He's a sweetheart. He's so nice and single. So we'll put his page up there.
Oh, it doesn't help if the whispering doesn't help if the microphone's right on my lapel.
Yeah. Did we learn nothing from politicians? For those of you listening and or watching, thank you so much for joining me. Please go check out Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Daniel G. Garza or at Little Mexican. Thank you to Mr. Moyers for all his help and support. Thank you, Cameron, for being here. A big shout out to Beit T'Shuvah?
Yeah, Beit T'Shuvah.
Beit T'Shuvah and Bark out in Texas. Again, there are many resources, and I say this seriously, there are many resources if you feel you have a problem with alcohol or drugs or any other compulsion. Seek help. If you don't know where to go, our information will be on the Facebook page. We will guide you in the best way that we can. But I know right now, if you're listening to this and you're drunk or high and you want out, it may seem like there's no way out. And I guarantee we were both there at one time. Mm-hmm. And gee willikers, look at us now. There is a way. There is a way. And I can't promise you what your journey is going to be like, but I can guarantee you it will be better than where you are right now. So with that said, thank you, everybody. This is filmed right before Christmas, so if you're listening to this before Christmas, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah. This is Daniel Garza saying, hey, put it together.
This is how I put it together.
This is how I put it together.
This is how I put it together.
Subscribe to Put It Together on iTunes, Stitcher, and at abnormalentertainment.com/putittogether. Find Put It Together on Facebook and tweet Daniel at Lil Messican, LILMESICAN. And for more podcasts, comics, books, movies, and more, head to abnormalentertainment.com.
You've been listening to the Abnormal Entertainment Network.